You said that Dominican people are very lively, very vibrant. And I feel like that comes across so well with the language, with the way that we hear, well, the way that we speak Spanish, Dominican Spanish. What are some ways that the language stands out to you as we're looking at Spanishes across the region?
I mean, I think that to me is so interesting when I think about the Dominican Republic's proximity to Puerto Rico and Cuba, which are the other two Spanish speaking countries in the Caribbean. And of course, like Spanish spoken, in other Caribbean countries, because of course we migrate and we move, and people from other countries become expats and bring their Spanish with them. But I think that the thing that to me stands out when I think about Dominican Spanish, particularly as it relates to Puerto Rican Spanish and Cuban Spanish, is that, we all speak melodious Spanish. I think that Dominicans in particular have really like created a vernacular that I feel like is working class Spanish. I feel like there is a efficiency, I like to think about it, in the ways that we massacre the S's. We like truncate words, para becomes pa, just like these kind of shortcuts that we take with language and speaking with each other. And for me, at least, when I listen to Spanish, when I go back to the R and I listen to people speak, there's just so much warmth, in the way that we speak to each other. And so for me, it's really joyful to listen to Dominican speak. And we have a lot of humor, and I think that that's another thing that really comes across, that even when you're not telling a story that's meant to be funny,
Mhm.
like there's just humor in the way you're delivering the story. So like for me, that's something that I definitely thought about when I was writing this new book, because it is a heart racing, very fast paced story, but I also wanted it to be, just for there to be this kind of like existence, or like a presence of a humor, that it isn't really the story being funny, but the language and the way you're telling the story that brings a certain kind of levity.